Welcome back to the channel. So I want to dedicate another video talking about the space sector because I continue to believe that that is where the opportunity will be coming over the next few weeks because we've begun to see tidbits of that. Now, I made a video 2 days ago, this one in particular here, don't miss this sign from the market. And the sign was the fact that a lot of space stocks were having earnings failures. So again, they would drop on earnings because their earnings were poor, and then they would manage to fill that gap and actually reverse higher. Today we're witnessing another stock do just that. So as a reminder, I mean, here is SPCX, right? I released that video on August 11. SPCX ended up having earnings failure when it officially crossed over this mark here, right? This initial gap down was because of earnings, and then we've reversed it and gone higher. Today it's down just a bit, but yesterday had a massive day. I think it was up over 10%. And then we have ASTS, same deal. A little harder to see on the chart here because it began reversing in the pre-market, but it also dumped down, right? This is the pre-market, and pretty much in early mornings, it began to pull up, but same deal. It also had dumped off poor earnings. Then we have RKLB. Same deal. Here's the dump of earnings, right? We gapped down till there and we built back up. If you look at the 5-minute chart, you could basically catch it on, where is it? We can catch it right here. Look at this dump of the earnings, and then we begin to reverse higher. Those are 3 stocks in the space sector that have managed to have an earnings failure, and I pay attention to that because stocks within the same sector having an earnings failure typically shows us that there is a serious money rotation into that sector. Right now, we have another stock, LUNR, L-U-N-R, that is having an earnings failure or is in the midst of it. It's pretty much flat on the day right now. If you look at the 15-minute chart here, markets closed off about here. It kind of drifted upwards, and then the numbers came out and it completely dumped. How much of a dump? I mean, from the peak there, 22%. 22% dump. That's how bad it was in the pre-market. And it's managed to build up since then on pretty good volume too. It's sitting just down 35 basis points. But as I began to roll this video, it was actually a little bit up on the day. These 2-minute candles right here are the reason for it to drop. Let me bring over Thinkorswim here. You can visualize just as the numbers come out and then the earnings call is being had. Earnings call was not helping the stock whatsoever. It began to sell even more. So even when they were hearing from management about the future of LUNR, it was not helping the stock. As you can see, there were misses for Q2. The earnings miss, the actual EPS had missed, and also sales had missed for it. Every headline here is negative, but the stock ended up having a massive reversal, and again a massive reversal within the space sector, which we have to pay attention to because that is apparently where the strength has been. Now LUNR does have a massive short interest, I believe about 30%. So clearly it is not a healthy company. No healthy company ever runs around of a short interest of 30%. Clearly a lot of investors, a lot of big dogs out there feel like this company is struggling. This company will likely have to have offerings and dilute and have bonds offerings and whatever you may to keep it going. Even like we look at the chart here, it doesn't look pretty. It obviously had a little bit of a hype run here a few months ago, all the way to 46. It's not healthy, but the thing is, this earning failure approach helps us find stocks that might begin having a short squeeze because the stock should have gone lower. The stock did go lower, but it reversed. And very likely the reason why it reversed is because some of the short sellers began covering their bets. Maybe some of them were smart enough to cover at the very bottom. Other ones watched it recover half of that drop and more, and then it began to panic, and they began to cover, and others began to panic that it's bouncing back so strongly, and they begin to cover. And guess what happens when a stock begins to actually trade even higher than what it was pre-earnings, right? Past that high and so forth. First of all, it gets buyers reinterested into the stock, and second of all, more shorts will begin to cover the stock. So it does bode well for possibility of there being a short squeeze here. With that being said, this is a play that you have to size down a lot because there's a lot of volatility in LUNR. So do not run your typical size. Keep in mind there's a lot of volatility involved here. And usually with any sort of squeezes, it sometimes may just play out for 1 or 2 days, and that is it. There's no guarantee as to how long that play can play out for. Some of the earning failures that I have had, I've been able to run them for weeks, even a month or two on my books. Usually when it comes to a stock that is very heavily shorted, that is a play that I'll probably take off after a few days, because you do always run a risk there will be some serious negative headline, or the company will simply take advantage of that mini run to offer more shares because they have to raise money. I would say 9 out of 10 times companies that are very heavily shorted, they need money to continue to operate. And that's why shorts are all over those companies, because they know this company every few months is going to have some form of dilution here or there, and it has to be priced into the stock. I think last quarter, was it Path or something? Path also is a stock that has a high short interest. Now, unfortunately, I didn't play in any of this, but take a look. This is an example of a very, very highly shorted stock. You see earnings comes out. This was in May, and it gaps down, builds up, right? Notice very kind of similar, right, to what I'm showing you with the other stock, and it looks promising for a short squeeze. And guess what? The very next day, another very big push higher, 12%. That's nothing to sneeze at, but that is it. It fizzled out, and that will happen with stocks that are very heavily shorted. There's no guarantee that that play can go on for longer and longer. I guarantee you this stock is also still super heavily shorted right now. That hasn't changed things, but it looks like in this case though, shorts are continuing to cover, buyers are still coming into it. But that's how I will be playing LUNR. It's kind of sitting here at that middle mark right now, right? Where it's not a valid call. So I will have to see by close. Same thing for you guys. Obviously, don't jump in too early because we have 2 hours till market close. It could go back to $16, for example, and all of that is kind of tossed out the window. But I did want to make this video just in case in the event it begins to cross over $17, trade to $17.20, $17.40, because then that looks more promising for a short squeeze, especially because it's happening within a sector that we have seen have a positive money rotation with a lot of earnings failures. But that's the video I wanted to share. If this was helpful, leave me a like, please. Subscribe for more videos such as this one. Shoot me a comment if you have any questions. Other than that, thank you so much for watching.